Hello and welcome to part 9 of Let's Translate Light Novels, where we are going to be looking at this light novel right here, Seiran Den, the Shigeyugi prequel about Nakago's past. I'm going to be analyzing the translations of 3 of my patrons and myself when I was 18 years old and did not have that much Japanese experience. It's one of the first things I ever translated. If you want to be one of my patrons who has their translations evaluated in these videos, or if you just want access to the text that are going to be in these videos about a month in advance and have your own chance to look it over and practice translating a little bit before you see how other people did it, you can join my Patreon at the $12 level and do that. I mean, there's lower levels that you can join as well, if that's too rich for your blood. Check the video description below for credits for any of the translators who wanted to be credited in these videos and for a disclaimer, and let's just jump right into it. So the Japanese, Taria no kotoba ni, so the kotoba that she said in the last video when she was telling Ayuru, hey, you're in the same tribe, the Hin tribe, just like the rest of us. Why wouldn't you be able to go to the Tenko summoning ceremony? So that's the kotoba that they're talking about here, Taria no kotoba ni, Ayuru wa chisaku kobushi o nigitta. So from what Taria said, Ayuru clenched his fist. Or Ayuru clenched his fist at the sound of, from what, in response to the words that Taria said. Patron A translated that as, he clenched his small hands into fists hearing this. Hearing this is good for Taria no kotoba ni. Patron B, Ayuru clenched his fist upon hearing her say that. It doesn't really matter. Chisaku kobushi o nigitta. It's not his tiny fists. It's chisaku nigitta. He lightly clenched them. Not he clenched his little fists. I'm correcting Patron A there rather than Patron B, just to clarify. Patron C, Ayuru's fists were twitching slightly as she spoke. Twitching slightly is kind of neat. Like chisaku nigitta. Instead of like it's like chisaku nigitta. And then small Sarah, when hearing Taria's words, way literal, Ayuru clenched his tiny fists. Patron C, not. Small Sarah and Patron A had the same misunderstanding that chisaku is the kobushi, the fist itself was tiny. No, it was the action of clenching it was chisaku, smallly, tinily, softly, lightly. I like twitching slightly. I like that because it implies like kind of clenching, but not quite with tension. The next line, Koko kuto koku no seihou ni sumu shousu minzoku, hinzoku no suhai suru nushi. So many kanji, so many like modifying things. So nushi is the subject of this sentence. Nushi tenko, the Lord, the Master Tenko wa, nen ni ichido, shōshū no shingetsu no ban ni, kono ao no mizumi no ue ni sugata o arawasu no datta. そして一族に厳粛なるお告げを下すのだ. This is all very like regal, literary sounding prose, not conversational at all, which is why it's weird for me to say it. So there's a lot of fancy words in here too. So seihou, if you look at the kanji to the west in the western region, shōsu minzoku. So if you look at the kanji in there, shōsu means like small in numbers, and then minzoku, tribe, ethnicity, clan. Ethnic minority is usually how like shōsu minzoku would be translated. Hinzoku is just the name of their tribe. Suhai suru, to worship. So the Lord, Tenko the Lord, that the Hinzoku, the ethnic minority who lived in the west of Kuto, the Hinzoku worshipped, Tenko the Lord that, so Tenko, the Lord that the Hinzoku, comma, a small ethnic minority in the western outskirts of the Kuto Empire worshipped. So a lot of these modifying words for Tenko. Nen ni ichido, so once a year in the early autumn, on the evening of the new moon, he would appear above the Ao no Mizumi, which a lot of my patrons translated as the Blue Lake or Lake of Blue. And small Sarah left in Japanese, it's just Ao no Mizumi. So he would appear above the Lake of Blue or Ao no Mizumi on the first evening of the new moon in early autumn to the Hinzoku, the small ethnic minority on the western outskirts of Kuto, and these are the people that worshipped him. So very, very long run-on sentence, like Just looking at that right now without looking at the patron translations, I would break that up probably into more than one sentence. そして and also he would give a solemn proclamation or oracle, お告げ, to he would bestow 下す upon the clan, his solemn proclamation oracle. So how do we all translate this word? I was going to call it a word salad. It's not a word salad. It means something, but it's very wordy. So patron A. Ayuru's clan, the Hins, live in the western part of Kuto. It would be lived in the western part of Kuto country. Country's kind of weird here. Kingdom would be a little more like in line with just this time period and this setting. Empire would work too. Every year on a full moon in early autumn, it's the new moon, Shingetsu, the lord they worship, Lord Tenko, appears. So again, the tense here, even though in Japanese it's present tense, it should be past. It's so hard to keep your tenses consistent when you're translating light novels. Like, he then bestows a grand divination before the entire clan. I like this sentence a lot. But again, it should be past. He would then bestow, or he then bestowed. A grand divination. I like grand divination for otsuge. Patron B. Once a year, on the evening of the first new moon of autumn, Lord Tenko would appear over this lake of blue. Period. I like that. That part of the sentence is one sentence. He would then give a solemn oracle to his worshippers, the Hin people, a minority tribe living in the western part of Kuto. Oh, yeah. So I admire the rearranging of things to kind of make it make more sense and make the first sentence less wordy, but it still seems a little like over expositionally and like, oh, by the way, he would then give an solemn oracle to his worshippers. I would add a period there and somehow work the Hin people, a minority tribe living in the western part of Kuto, somewhere else, because it sounds too much like, by the way, to his worshippers, who were, by the way, fun fact, the Hin people, fun fact, a minority tribe. It's so hard to translate that, like, no shade to patron B. I like the rearranging here. It's so much cleaner. Patron C. The small Tenko worshipping community of Litorans lived in the western lands of the vast Empire of Kuto, period. And there's a footnote with Empire of Kuto. Basically, this patron is not really sure how to translate the kuni or koku part of Kuto. And like country does sound kind of weird with this setting. I like the choice of empire. I think that makes perfect sense, especially since like Kuto is very imperialistic. They are an empire. They take over other countries and stuff, so empire works just fine. Each year, on the night of the first new moon of autumn, Lord Tenko himself would appear over Blue Lake, and the Litorans would receive his solemn pronouncements. Ooh, solemn pronouncements. I like that. And also note that patron C capitalized he and his, like you would for a god or a deity. I like that. It sounds less like a who were, by the way, fun fact, that the Japanese kind of sounded like. Like, it doesn't sound weird and clunky in Japanese, just thought that way in English it sounds clunky. I like this one the best so far. And remember that patron C translated Hin as Litoran. Small Sarah. The small tribe living in the western region of Kuto, the Hin race, believed that the lord they worshipped, Tenko, would show himself to his people once a year on the new moon of the first autumn on this blue lake. Period. Small Sarah left that as one big long-ass sentence. It kind of works. The way the Hin race and Tenko were kind of commented out, that actually works okay. It's still pretty run-on, though, and still very like, one-eyed, one-armed, flying purple people eater. Like, way too many descriptors here in one sentence. And then he would solemnly present his people with an oracle. I kind of like that. This believed that he would appear. Like, it's not that they believed he would. Like, he did. He appeared. I don't know where Small Sarah got believed out of all of that. Yeah, but by using the word believed in there, that helped the give the sentence structure and helped it flow a little bit better. Maybe that's why Small Sarah put believed in there. But it's just weird to use believed because it is something that happened, like narratively in the book. So yeah, how would you have translated that? I definitely would have I like patron C's the best. I think it's the clearest and like the least exposition-y, fun facty of all the translations. Yeah, but I might have changed this 2-sentence thing into 3 sentences, maybe even 4, because it's just way too much information. There's way too many descriptors for like the Hin tribe, who are also this and also that, and they also lived here, and yeah. Anyway, the next part. その儀式に参加できるのは男子は10歳以上のもの、女子は12歳以上のものと掟にて定められていた。Passive voice is fun to say with all the la 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 la. So the ones who were allowed to participate in this ceremony, for boys, it was ages 10 and up. So the ijo, 10歳以上, it doesn't mean older than 10, it means like 10 or older, 10 and up. And for girls, it was age 12 or up. That was established in their law, in their okite, in their commandments, in their law. Patron A. The clan's code states, again, we're kind of stuck in present tense because of, actually in Japanese, it's past. But yeah, like it's always a good idea after you've translated prose like this to just go back and just look at all of your verbs and make sure the tenses are consistent or what they're supposed to be. Because it's so easy to slip in and out of past and present when you're translating light novels. The clan's code states that boys must be over 10 years of age and girls must be over 12 to participate in this ritual. So yeah, it's 10 and up, 12 and up. It's not over 10 or over 12. Like it includes 10-year-olds and it includes 12-year-olds. To attend the ceremony, boys had to be at least 10 years of age and girls 12. I like that, and it's very concise, it's very like shortened up, very tightened up. And by custom, the celebrants were to be over the age of 10 if male, or the age of 12 if female. I like and by custom, although okite ni te sademerarete ita, it's like it was established, it was a law, it was a rule. It wasn't exactly a custom. Like I like the expression and by custom, but it's like and by law would actually be a little more what it is. Small Sarah, those who can participate, could participate in the ceremony were boys past age 10 and up, and girls past age 12. That's the law. I kind of like that, that's the law. But it would be that was the law, because it's past tense, not present. Yep, small Sarah was getting tripped up with her tenses too. Ooh, fun fact, speaking of fun facts, small Sarah, like the year before I translated this, I had written a really long fanfic, and that was all written in present tense. And so I kind of got into the habit of writing in present tense as well. I don't know why I did that, what made me make the decision to write that in present tense. But yeah, it kind of messed me up, and I was having a lot of trouble with like switching tenses when writing after I wrote that fanfic. Next part, Ayuru wa kuyashisa ni aratamete kuchibiru o kamishimeta. So Ayuru like bit or pursed his lips in frustration or bitterness. Once again, aratamete. Patron A. Ayuru bit his bottom lip in frustration. I like the bit the bottom lip. Patron B. Ayuru bit his lip in frustration. Patron C. Ayuru was vexedly chewing his lip. This was ing form, doesn't always work. I think it's stronger to do just did the verb instead of was doing the verb. Vexedly, that's the first time I've ever heard vexed used like vexedly as an adverb. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, kuyashi, like I am vexed, that works too. Small Sarah, Ayuru bit his lips in frustration. I think bit his lip makes more sense. Like, how do you bite both of your, I guess, if you do that, you're biting both of your lips. If you like fold them into each other, then you're biting your lips. But usually it's you bite your lip, like next line of dialogue. 言ったんでしょう? タリアに念をされ、アユルは答えた。言ったよ. So Talia had asked before, 言ったんでしょ? Like you went, right? And then 念にをされ was reminded. So reminded by Talia that she's asking him this question. Ayuru answered, yeah, I went. 言ったよ. I'll have you know I went. So patron A, so you went there, right? Talia kept pressing him. I like the pressing for nen no osare. So he finally replied, I did. Patron B, you went, didn't you? Talia asked again. Yes, Ayuru answered. Patron C, so you must have gone. Talia prompted him. I kind of like prompted, because it's like she's making him remember, nen no osare, right, right, and then I went. There's no Ayuru wa kotaeta here. I think it could have done with I went, Ayuru answered, or Ayuru answered, comma, I went. I think it could have done with a dialogue tag, especially since it was there in Japanese. Small Sarah, you went, right? Without looking at Taria, Ayuru answered, yes, that was made up. Small Sarah probably didn't know what nenniosare meant. She probably looked it up but still couldn't find an answer because she was working with limited technology of 1999. And so without looking at Taria, I like the thing that she just added in there. It works with the tone of the scene, but it's not right. Anyway, next part. 少女の瞳が期待と恐怖に大きく見開かれた. Passive voice is so hard to say. 見開かれた. So, like, opened wide, basically. So, the girls, her, Taria's eyes opened wide with kitai, with like hope, expectation, anticipation, and kyofu, and excitement. So anticipation and excitement, eagerness and like elation. Patron A. Her eyes widened with anticipation and excitement. That's very literal but good. It does the job. It doesn't sound stilted. Patron B. Talia's eyes widened in excitement and anticipation. Pretty much the same thing, like worded slightly differently. Talia's instead of her, and like reverse the excitement and anticipation. Patron C. Her eyes went wide, brimming with hope and fervor. I like that. I like the brimming. Small Sarah. The girl's eyes grew wide with excitement. I don't know if any of you watch Spy Family, but I imagine like, oh, what's her name? Anya, when she goes like, waku waku. I kind of imagine that right here. Yeah, with excitement and anticipation. Small Sarah left that part out. Like she's waiting on bated breath to hear like what Ayuru says about the ceremony. That's why she's like, hey, let's play truth or dare. Let's exchange secrets. She really just wants to hear what happened at that ceremony. She also wants to tell him something too, which we'll get to in the next video. But she really wants to know what happened at that ceremony, and no one would tell her. So her next dialogue, それで、主様、天后様はどんなお姿をしていたの? Small 2, question mark, exclamation point. Ayuruの全身から冷や汗が吹き出した. So? Like, so then? Like, then, so. Our Lord, Tenko, like, what did he look like? Osugata, it's just a honorable version of sugata. Like, what form did he take is literally what that is, but it's more like, what did he look like? And then Ayuru broke out in a cold sweat, like, all over his body, zenshin kara. So patron A, so what did Lord Tenko look like? Ayuru's whole body broke out in a cold sweat. Patron B, so? What did our Lord Tenko, look like? That sounds weird when you say it out loud. And this is a good lesson, a good test for dialogue translation. Say it out loud. And if it sounds weird to say it out loud, you should probably tweak it a little bit. And this could have used just a word or two and it would work better. So, I like the so. What did our Lord Tenko, look like? Our Lord, M dash, Lord Tenko, M dash. What did he look like? That would have read better. Our Lord Tenko, what did he look like? Reads much better than what did our Lord Tenko, look like? That look like at the end just sounds kind of weird. Ayuru's whole body broke out in a cold sweat. Oh my god, that's exactly the same as patron A. What are the odds? Ayuru's whole body broke out in a cold sweat. I dig it. Okay. Patron C. So you've seen him, she breathed. Nice dialogue tag there for それで, with all the dots. That implies, so it's a good extrapolation. When you, Lord Tenko, at the right, what did he look like? Ayuru broke out in a cold sweat. That kind of works too, because like her ellipses and the commas, it's implying that she's sort of like, what did he look like? You know, she's kind of like, whoa. When you, Lord Tenko, at the right, what did he look like? That works too. And then patron C, not patron C, small Sarah, and our Lord Tenko-sama. What did he look like? A cold sweat formed on Ayuru's body. Yeah, formed is kind of weird. Broke out is a lot better. All three patrons did a better job with that than small Sarah. Tenko-sama. I don't actually mind like Japanese honorifics being preserved in a work like this, because again, this is sort of like pseudo-ancient Japan, or like pseudo-ancient Ainu or like, you know, pseudo-ancient, like maybe Mongolia, maybe, because this is Western Japan, or like Hokkaido to the west, Western Hokkaido, Western Tohoku area, maybe. So I don't think it's actually wrong or bad to leave Japanese honorifics in this translation specifically. And that is the end of part 9 of Let's Translate Light Novels. The last one was so long, so it was nice to have a shorter one this time. Be sure to tune in next month in July for parts 10 and 11. I release 2 episodes of this monthly. Again, if you want to be part of the group of people who translate it, join my Patreon at the $12 level. I'd like to thank my particular patrons here, Greg, Lay, Henry Roaming, Data Fox, and Char Pixie, for their continuing extra special amazing support. Without them, I would not have a place to live. It's not quite hyperbole. No pressure. It's okay. If you can't support me or if you can't afford it, please do not. I know we're all struggling right now, but just thank you if you are supporting me. And if you would like to support this series, please do if you have the means. Anyway, see you next time. Bye.